We're going to discuss the halftone shader. Here we have our standard bounce scene where we have the ball bouncing up and down and the cow moving. These are still the stock objects, the stock cow and the ball with the default surface. I render this out. Yes, I have the still have the cartoon ground, which will lend itself well to the next step. So the halftone shader is accessed through the surfaces panel. Let's start with the ball. Let's open up our Viper here. Select our ball surface. And it's still the default ball, so we're going to go to Shader and select the halftone shader. And instantly we have these dots coming up. We can see that on our Viper window. We double click, we have some of the settings. They seem very obvious to me now, but I remember when I first looked at them, they weren't so obvious. X spacing simply means the X distance between whatever elements we're choosing. In this case, it's the dots. Put back to 50 so we can see it. Y, the up and down. In case you didn't know, halftone was used primarily in like newspapers, old dictionaries. It's their method of dithering to get a gray image between the black and the white. And here we're duplicating that. Even though we have 16 million colors to work with, we still sometimes want the look of just having two colors. We have several types. Dot, soft dot, which basically is the same as dot, but with a softer edge. Blocks, which are squares. Cross-hatching, which I find I actually use the most when I'm using this kind of thing. Various you can take a look at. Line is handy to help show what the screen angle does. Not a big leap of intuition here. It is the angle. It's the printing screen, but it just means the angle that this is coming in. I'm going to go to cross here. What's interesting about this is that we can use some of the techniques that we've become familiar with our other 2D applications or 2D look. Now you see how the halftone is like crawling up on here. Let's see what happens if we crank up our diffuse. Oh, look at that, it's backing up. If we give it some luminosity, it's looking kind of familiar. It's giving us a certain element of control. We'll put that to exactly white. Let's take this back down again. 150. Alright. We don't have a lot of controls here as far as the strength, variation, other than just which one we're using. And as you can see, I'll have that crawl up a little bit there. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, no, I'm just going to go to the cowhide and also apply the halftone shader. And look at that, it's going right on top of it. Now, not the most attractive look. We render this out. We have the dots going on top of the previous fractal noise that was being used for the cowhide. Not working real well. So we'll go into the cowhide, take off that fractal noise, and it's getting a little bit better. And what the heck, let's go old school here, turn it white, more luminous. Ooh, too many dots. Let's go with the checks. Let's go with the cross hatching. Make it smaller. There we go. Getting something interesting now. And as long as we're here, let's go to our old friend, the cell look edges. And if we really wanted to, we could go in and we could use our gradients to put an edge around it, to put some other shading on it. Now let's take a look at what this looks like. It's a different look. It's a very useful look, especially if you're going for a kind of stylized kind of imagery. You know, it's got a certain high-tech look, and now we see that we have the different surfaces still. So what I'm going to do is just do a copy and paste on my cowl surfaces. That was the hide. So copy. We'll just select them all. Paste. I think I missed this one. Paste. Now something we haven't touched on before. We have our camera here. Let's render this. One of the options that we have for cell look edges is to put a line around our surface edges. Even though the surfaces are identical, which means it doesn't appear to be any line defining them, we can still put a line in there. I usually like to put a fairly small line, put 0.6 in there. And this will give us a line around the eyes, the lips, the nose. Looks like I could have backed off that light a little more. A very high-tech, a very clean look. And that is the Halftone Shader. You can have fun with that. But I also suggest using some of the other techniques. You might want to put in also where we use the mock specular to have a little bit more control. Also, even though I did this as white, it doesn't need to be white. It could be purple. And we have another interesting, unique look. It's a bit of a cliche, but you really are only limited by your imagination on this. Who would have thought you would get this kind of look out of Lightwave?